All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. This is an article that I came across today. Okay, and as I read it, it had some very interesting points in there, which I wanted to bring out. Lord willing, it'd be edifying unto the elect. I'm just gonna go through it real quick, get a couple of precepts, and then we'll get out of here. So it says Saudi Crown Prince says he agrees with Pompeo. Oil plant attacks are act of war by Iran. Okay, and that's very important. That's very key. Okay, that you know that these things are taking place. Okay, because Iran is a very major key player. All right, in this upcoming war that's going to take place, known as World War III or the War of Armageddon. All right. So I'm going to read this real quick. Now, check this out. It says, heir apparent to the Saudi throne, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, said that he agrees with U.S. State Secretary Mike Pompeo, who called recent attacks on Saudi oil facilities a state act of war by Tehran. Okay, which if they wanted to, they could say, well, Tehran basically declared war on us by these oil attacks, so we can retaliate, you know. But it says the U.S. wasted no time in shifting the blame for the attacks that crippled two of Saudi Aramco facilities on Iran, vowing retaliation. All right, because Saudi is a major producer of oil. Okay, however, a lot of the locations, all right, which or straits in which they export the oil out of Saudi, guess what? That's controlled by Iran. All right, so it would be a very big problem, and that's why he says this in here. It would be a very big problem if they were to spark an all full blown war with Iran, not only physically but economically. So it says this was Iran. This was Iran and true, and the United States will respond in a way that reflects that act of war by this Iranian revolutionary regime, Pompeo said last Sunday, falling short of providing any details of what the U.S. response could be. So you see what's going on is this little back and forth. But this back and forth is escalating if you're paying attention. Okay, it's becoming more and more physical, and is drawing more and more attention, and people are getting more and more worried, and more eyes are now on that area. All right. Asked by CBS's Nora O'Donnell if he agrees with Pompeo's assessment, the Crown Prince responded, "Of course, yes." The de facto Saudi Arabia ruler said that while he agrees with the U.S. take on the September 14 drone strikes claimed by Houthi rebels, Riyadh would not rush into a war with Iran as it would likely trigger the global economic collapse. You hear that? I'm gonna read it again. Riyadh would not rush into a war with Iran as it would likely trigger the global economic collapse. Because remember, if they were to spark a war with Iran, that would heighten tensions, all right, globally, but it will also affect what? Oil. And oil is a very, very, very big commodity, all right? And that's how a lot of these things run. Okay, a lot of the things you use now, guess what? Oil plays a big role in that. As a matter of fact, yesterday at camp, we were going into how these trucks, okay, how important these trucks are, because these trucks deliver, okay, a lot of the things that allow this society to run as it does. Okay, and even when things are when things are imported into the country, you have trucks that deliver them to the correct locations, whether it's water filters or filtration systems or chlorine for these water filtering facilities that then use it to filter the waters that come through your pipes, or whether it's delivering food, or whether it's delivering medical supplies to hospitals. But guess what? what do trucks run on? They run on gas. Okay. And on top of that, trucks bring that oil to the gas stations. You see? So without oil, how is all this going to take place? All right. But this is very important that he said that. Okay. Because guess what, man? This global economy will collapse. All right. That's set, because in order for them to make that chip globally mandated globally, they need to do away with the current system that is right now in order to bring in that new system. That one world currency, what do you think that is? That's the microchip, the mark of the beast. Okay, so everything is interlinked like a spider web. All right, one thing falls, it triggers another, which triggers another, which triggers another. Next thing you know, you have a whole big giant mess. All right, but guess what? It's all prophecy. This is all biblical prophecy. That's why when we speak about these things, that's why what we do videos on these articles, because we know what it means. We're giving you the biblical or the prophetic meaning of what's going on, of why these things are happening and what it's going to lead to. So it says the region represents about 30% of global energy supplies, about 20% of global trade passages, about 4% of the world GDP. Imagine all these things stop. This means the total collapse of the economy. I'm going to read that again. The region represents about 30% of global energy supplies that would be affected, about 20% of global trade passages also affected. That means what? Your exports and your imports are halted. And a lot of these countries, what they require, they only have so much in their reserves, and even in that, there's only certain resources that they keep reserves of. Others, since they can get it so easily through imports, they don't keep reserves of it. It says about 4% of the world GDP. Imagine all these things stop. This means a total collapse of the global economy. And that's going to bring a whole lot of hell, because this is a global economy. So there's going to be a global outcry for something to be done about it. And that's why the chip is going to be so widely accepted, because, mind you, imagine you had a global power outage. Not just a grid of one country going down, but a whole global outage. They would come together to try and find a means, okay, to fix things or get things up and running, okay? And they're gonna say, you know what? This paper, this dollar, this petrodollar, all these things are not gonna work. We need something more efficient, something better, and they're gonna present you with a chip. It says the political and guess what? Don't think of it like society right now. No, you're living in a society which uses this way of living. When they rebuild things, okay, on the standards of the chip, guess what? Don't think you can still move around easily with just cash on you. No, all right. Certain, just like you go to certain stores and they say, "Oh, sorry, we only accept card. We don't accept cash." Guess what? A lot of these stores are gonna say we only take chips. A lot of these jobs are gonna be designed in a way where you need a chip. See, the infrastructure is gonna be rebuilt in a way that's what compatible with the microchip, because that is the new standard of living. That is the new way. You see, and that's gonna put the squeeze on a lot of people to get that chip. It says the political and peaceful solution is much better than the military one. Bin Salman, commonly known as MBS, told CBS program 60 Minutes that aired on Sunday, while saying that he hopes that it would not come to a shooting war between Riyadh and Tehran. MBS called on the international community to set up its pressure on Iran, warning that otherwise we would see further escalation that will threaten world's interests. So these are what? War talks, man. All these things happening is not by coincidence. It's set up to happen that way. It's supposed to happen that way, because this World War III is supposed to happen. Okay? It says Iran has dismissed all allegations of its involvement in the strikes. So that means that if they were to say, well, because Iran did this, now they have to do this to amend for it, Iran isn't going to do that because they said we didn't do this. We didn't come. We didn't. We're not the ones who struck you. It says that briefly cut the Saudi oil giant's daily output in half, sending crude prices through the roof. So what if Saudi's oil facilities were to get hit again, but this time much worse than before? You think they're still going to be sitting there willing to have other means, willing to talk it out? No, the pressure is going to be put on them to start taking action towards that. And since they already blamed Iran for it the first time, who do you think they're going to blame again? Who do you think they're going to point the fingers at? It says, despite pointing finger at Iran almost immediately after the attacks took place, Washington is yet to produce evidence of the Islamic Republic's role and pinpoint a launch site of the attack. Somewhat belatedly, the U.S. led in the blame game was followed by its major European allies, France, Germany, and the U.K., saying that was clear to them that Iran was responsible. So now everybody's looking at Iran like, yo. But guess what? You still got Russia that's with Iran. You still got China that's with Iran. All right. But it's mainly these Western European countries that are what? They're so you see the separation and the division and what that heat sparking up again. Okay, but let me get a couple precepts, man. This is James chapter 5, verse 8. It says, be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. And according to the Bible, yes, the Lord is going to make his second return. The Messiah is going to come back, but he's going to come back in the middle of this war. All right. And the scriptures say the Lord is going to come back. That means what? This war is going to take place. He's going to come back in the middle of World War III, and he's going to deliver his elect. So if you're of the Lord's chosen, if you hear and the missiles are coming, don't worry. The Lord is going to deliver you. All right. But the coming of the Lord draweth nigh, and is very close, man. It's right at the door. Okay. It's funny. It says what? The judge standeth before the door. Oh, that's the spirit. Joel 1:15. Alas, for the day of the Lord is at hand, and as a destruction from the Almighty shall it come. Okay. So when we see these things, we understand that what? These are all signs and steps leading closer and closer to the day of the Lord. All right. The return of the Messiah. All right. So, yeah, that's pretty much it on this article. All right. It was very, I found it interesting, especially concerning what the statement that that he made, the Saudi prince made, okay, about how this would trigger a global economic collapse, man. Okay, because there is going to be a global economic collapse. But Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect. Hey, as prophets, is what? It's our job to keep our eyes open and watching for these signs, okay, and breaking them down through the Spirit. But I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.